All right, guys, so first of all, I wanted to say thank you for getting me to 100 subscribers. It happened quite a bit faster than I thought it would, which is really cool to see. And I don't know, I didn't think that I was really giving a whole lot of new crazy information, but I just kind of felt like I want to share all the things that I've struggled with and a lot of the just problems that I have had in the last 10 years of doing this professionally. Kind of share the tips and tricks that I've learned because I've been there. I have been the photographer who was employed by a business that made me shoot, made me is a strong word, had me shoot 7 to 8 homes a day in the busy season, 5 days a week, and doing twilights on top of that a couple nights a week. And I had to learn, I really liked the business. I was the first time I had loved the business, and so I had to learn a lot of things about how to do it quickly and how to do it well. And when they stopped listening to me and I stopped having inputs being put in and just was kind of like, no, just do what you're told, that was when I broke out on my own and decided to, like, you know what, there is a market for sharing this, there is a market for doing this. And yeah, so today, to celebrate that and to thank you guys for it, I wanted to show you something that I found out that's pretty complicated. Hopefully it works. I've recorded this twice now because my computer has crashed, so I'm hoping that it works. I've got it all pre-rendered out, but I want to show you guys a transition for your videos. So this is a video that I shot for a client of mine, and one of the things that I have seen is these really cool, super smooth transitions. I mean, I've seen some transitions before that are, you know, you get speed ramps and then you put like a fade or you put a blur on them and then cut them, whatever, but they just aren't as smooth as this. And I'm sure you've seen the videos, and I've noticed that when anybody asks how they do those, the gentleman in the comments is always like, just send me a message on Instagram, send me an Instagram message, DM me here. And I have learned that he just wants to kind of sell you his program, and that's fine. I understand, you got to make money and it's all about hustle. But I think I have found how to do it, and I have kind of come up with it all on my own here. I've pieced it together from a couple different videos about speed ramps and a couple different videos on After Effects, motion blur effects, and I have no idea what they're doing. But this seems to be from analyzing a lot of videos and watching them a lot because I thought they were super cool. I think for my style, there were a little too many transitions. But in this one, I just wanted to get the smooth transition. So I'm going to show you what that looks like here. And that is a zoom transition where we walk towards the house and then we warp inside, and it's really buttery smooth, and that speed ramp is really nice and the motion blur is really nice. So you guys can see it here. We'll start moving towards the house. Now this was set to music and everything like that, but I don't have it in this one. And just like that really buttery smooth transition, right? Just that really, really fast whip through. That was really hard to do. And there were a lot of people who were like, oh, just, and I don't mean to talk down to them, but it was really frustrating because I asked some people who were pretty prominent in my area for like video help, and some friends of mine who had some videographers, and they're like, oh, it's just a speed ramp in Premiere. That's all you got to do. And you just add a little bit of motion blur to it, but it didn't look like I wanted it to. And so I have figured out that it is an After Effects thing. So you will need Premiere Pro and you will need After Effects for this. And if you've ever used After Effects, it's a bitch. After Effects is a monster. And I really have an appreciation for those who do it really well and understand it, because it is such a monster. I have animated a couple things in it. I've done shorts, like animated shorts over the years in it, and I have figured it out. But it is wild, and massive respect for people who know a lot about it, because I don't, and you guys are fantastic. And the few the probably like 10 videos I watched to piece this all together really helped out. So I'm going to show you how I have it broken out in this composition, and then we are going to go do it so that you can see it. But this is the pre-rendered comp that I have. We're going to be using two different effects, a time remap and a CC force motion blur, okay? And I'm going to show you how I do it. Oh, is it not going to go? It should be. Oh, it is. Okay. It is pre-rendered because this takes a lot. But there's our transition. Just like that. That really buttery smooth. Boom. Beautiful motion blur. Oh, it's over-exaggerated, but it's great. Okay. So we're going to come in here, and I'm going to show you how we do it. So we're going to take these guys, and we're going to be working on this top layer here. Or no, we're not. We're going to be working on the bottom layer because I drug these in the wrong order. So we have our outside layer first, and we are going to come in here. We're going to right click both of them just to make it faster. We're going to right click it, go to time, enable time remapping. You'll notice that we have a dot here, and we have at the end of our sequence or our composition another dot here. Those are going to be important, so pay attention to them. Now, I'm hoping I remember this. I've done this a number of times, but it's still, I get this super confused because for whatever reason, and forgive me if you know, and you're like, oh, it's just X, Y, or Z. This is a super long clip, by the way, so that's why it's all goofy. We're going to find out where that is. All right, here we go. Right here. You want your clips to be extra, extra long, by the way. You need them to be super, super, super long. So we're going to start right here. But I have never seen an application that, okay, let me see if I have this right. Okay, I do. Alt left square bracket will cut that, which is what we wanted. I have never, the one thing I hate about Adobe products is that every single one of them has a different way of doing the same goddamn thing. You'll forgive me for being passionate about this, but it drives me nuts. They have the same way of doing, they have the most complicated way of doing the same thing. And I really, really wish that this time remapping was like Premiere Pro. And the funny part is that if you time remap a clip and you try and bring it into After Effects from Premiere, it does not work. And it says it is incompatible. And that is so strange to me that you would make two systems from the same company that are supposed to work together not be compatible with each other. Meaning that you program two systems that are on the opposite ends and they don't work together. Intentionally, you made them not work together. Now, I am sure that there is someone out there who is an After Effects person that is like, oh, it's this reason. And I am glad that you understand that and you know it, but understand from my perspective, that is one of the most frustrating things I have ever seen. And I think had I learned After Effects first, I would have been a lot better. But I was not taught any of this in school. I went to school for journalism, and we didn't even we used Avid News Cutter, for God's sakes. I've learned all this myself, and learning this yourself and starting with an NLE, a nonlinear editor like Premiere, and coming into After Effects, it was so hard. So understand that if this is frustrating to you and this is hard, it's okay. This is a nightmare to use. And it's intimidating. But I'm going to try and make it as easy as possible. So we go to our time remapping. We have keyframes already set up. We are going to pick where we would like our speed to start ramping. So I tend to like to give myself some wiggle room. So I think we're going to start our speed ramp right here at 5 seconds. We are going to hit this button. Now forgive me if I screw this up a little bit. I will go back if I do. I don't think I will though. We are then going to say, okay, this last keyframe, we're just going to bring it all the way over because we don't really care about anything after the end of this video. We just want to haul ass straight to that end. Okay. So we're going to drag, oopsie daisy. We're going to make sure we only have that one selected and we are going to drag it right there to 6 seconds. Boom, we're there. Notice how it holds the frame now for the last seconds, right? It just hits and it holds. Just remember that. Sometimes it gets a little screwy when you're thinking about it. We are going to click our first keyframe and go to keyframe assistant, easy ease out. So we're going to easy ease it out. We are going to right click this keyframe and we are going to do easy ease in. We are then going to select both keyframes and we are going to come up here to this little graph editor. We will talk about some of these later because we do need to do that, but we are going to come to this graph editor. Okay. We are then going to use the plus key on our keyboard to zoom in. And now this is our speed graph, right? So it's going really easy and this nice thing. But what we want to do is we want it to ramp up really fast. So we want to take this handle, ooh boy, and drag it over here. And remember, it will snap to these different things. You want it to snap right there. And we want to bring this guy over here as well. But what we want to do, zoom in enough so you guys can see, is we want to make sure that we are snapped to where this timeline is. Because if you noticed before I did this, see how this line here is like flat and then it's below it? If you don't do it, So like you don't drag it up and you just end up dragging it over. See how it does that weird little snap thing and you can drag it all over the place? You have to be extremely careful with that, because if you don't, it will stop one frame and then it will take off. And I don't know why it does that. And it doesn't just inherently match it up. But again, be careful of that. And we want it to look like this, right? To where it's like really gradual and then sharp spike up, because that's what we want, is that rocketing towards the door. Okay, so that one is done. All right, so we got it taken care of. Don't worry about how those look. We're going to take this and we're going to drag it right over to where it ends, because that's what we want. We're now going to grab this guy. Okay, we're going to come in here to this time remapping again, and we're going to say, okay, where do we want it to start? So it holds, so we can't increase it anymore. So where do we want it to start? Well, we're going to look and see. I think we move back a little bit, so we're going to go back as far as we can, and we are going to say, all right, I'm going to bring, let's see, right here is where we begin. So hang on a second. Let me find where I'm moving. I'm just going to drag this guy over here. We're going to bring him right there. So we have no black. We come right in. All right. We're going to put a keyframe in here, because this is where we say we're going to want it to start. And then now we're going to pick where we want it to stop. So we're going to have it, now this wasn't the longest clip. I probably should have done it a little bit longer, but I'm going to put it right here. Now when you do this, you're going to have to click this keyframe and this keyframe. Because if you do not, you're going to expand the time between these two, and it will start stuttering. You're basically saying, I want it to be slow between these, which we don't want. So we want to make sure we grab that last keyframe so that we make the time between the two of them stay normal. Because if you don't, it will slow it down and it will get stuttery, and it's super frustrating. So we're going to come over here and we're going to go to 7 seconds, because we only want these to take a second. You can make them take half a second if you want it to be even faster. I just picked a second because that's what worked for me. And we're going to drag both of these over. And you'll notice now the speed is still fine. Now that actually does not work for us. So let's go to right here. Let's go to 10 seconds. I'm going to delete this keyframe here. Just grab it and hit delete. We are going to put a new keyframe in here. We're going to grab these two. And I'm actually going to do it at half a second. So we're at 24 frames, so 612. We're going to drag this and bring it right over here. All right. And then that way, now we have a little bit more runway for us to cut. This wasn't the best shot to do it on, admittedly. I don't like how it's facing these windows. We're not going to get into that right now. So just like we did last time, we're going to select these two we're going to select this keyframe first, the left one, keyframe assistant, easy ease out. And we're going to select this one, easy ease in. So we ease into it. We are then going to select both of them and go into our time remapping map up here. There are a couple of these. If you don't have this one, please take a note of these guys down here, because you can hit a bunch of these different ones. And for my graph selection, I have show graph tooltips and edit speed graph. Some of these can be on here, auto select can be on, and it can look different. If it does, I apologize. It took me forever, and one time I lost it, and oh god, it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. Okay, so now we want to do the opposite. We want our speed to be super fast and then slow us down. So we're going to do the exact opposite. We're going to take this handle and we're going to rocket it over here. And we're going to take this handle and pull it over here. Now again, notice you want to bring this up and match it as best as you can right here, so that they line up. And you can zoom in more so that you can kind of see. You want to try and match them up, because if you don't, you will have issues. And I don't know what the hell that thing is. You'll have issues, because see, it was coming down here and it will stop and then it will take off. So you have to make sure that you're easing it into it and trying to line it up as best as you can, just like that. Okay, but that is how we want that graph to look. Really sharp, coming down like that. Okay, so we are done in this. We can turn that off. Make sure that you have both of these frame blended turned on. You want to enable frame blending and turn the frame blending here. That way, if there, see how we have what that did? When you turn that on, it adds a little bit more of the frame blending to it and that speed. And it gives us that motion blur that we're looking for, but we're going to over exaggerate that even more. That frame blending can give us what we want, but then I come in here, right click this, go to Effects, Time, CC Force Motion Blur. Okay? And there is that exaggeration. Check our effects down, tick this down. We are going to subtract so we can see some time better. We're going to come to this keyframe right here. And we are going to come in here and on our motion samples, we are going to click this so we can add a keyframe. We are going to leave it at 8. That's fine. I never really adjust it. We're going to come to our final keyframe and we're going to type in 36. Now you can put in whatever you want. You can go crazy with this. I mean, you can go up to 255. It will take a shitload longer to render. So just be careful on that. I'm going to do, I'm going to do 36. And then we're also going to come to this shutter angle and we're going to type in 360. Now, I don't technically know if that does a whole lot, but I'm trying to over exaggerate all this stuff, right? You can easy ease those. I have not found it to truly matter, but you can see that when we start moving and it's trying to render these frames out, and it does take a lot to render this, but you'll see how exaggerated that motion is. And you can turn that effect off, and you can see that like it does give you just that little bit more of an edge that you want. Same thing here. We're going to come down here. We're going to click on this guy, right click, go to Effects, Time, CC Force Motion Blur, go to our effects, open up that CC Force Motion Blur, and we are going to click this guy, and we are going to start him on that first keyframe at 36. And we are going to fast forward to this one, and we are going to set this to 0. That way that when it comes out, that motion blur effect completely fades. But it's just rocketing us in. So when this frame renders, you'll see all that nice motion blur is over here. I'm not going to sit here and render this out with you guys because it takes forever. But just understand, you can see I have all of these built into mine here, and I have this composition pre-rendered. So you can see, that's what it looks like. It just whooshes you in like that. That beautiful, beautiful fly-in. Now, if it isn't stable enough, you could warp stabilize this, but then that gets complicated with having to do... you're going to have a couple different compositions because you can't have time remapping on the same thing as a warp stabilizer. So it's best to have this as stable as possible when you bring it in. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful for you. Sorry for the quick kind of cut in here. Having After Effects Premiere and OBS open at the same time, it does not like using the NVEC encoder that I'm using and also having to render 4K out from an H.265 at the same time. And unfortunately, it crashed at the very end, so I do apologize for that. But largely, this is what we did. And all I do after I get that done is go into After Effects once everything is in there, and I render it out. And you can see from our cool little video here just how buttery smooth that is, and render that out, and then I just replace it in the timeline, and you can cut it. Mine I have cut right in the middle, and then I come in and I grade it with Cinematch and Lumetri Color just to really give it that nice final grade. I also export in ProRes so that it retains all the information and everything like that. And it comes out great. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. I really appreciate the 100 subscribers again. Thank you guys so much. I will be continuing to make some cool stuff. I am trying to get, it's funny, I'm trying to find a home to do my first kind of like behind the scenes walkthrough, full shoot, kind of show you how I do everything, what I pack, what I go through. I've just been getting a ton of homes that are occupied, where we've got owners with kids and the agent is there as well. And it's just unfortunate because I don't film that simply because there's too much going on and I want to be able to give you guys my full attention. And so the next time I get a vacant one, which might be today, I don't know. If it is, I'll film it. If not, we are going to look forward to the next vacant one, and we will get it recorded and we'll show you. Maybe I'll do some kind of like a bag, what I pack, and talk about that. I've also got a really cool tripod head I want to show you guys that I started using. I used to be a big ball head person for years, and then now I have this new K&F Concept geared head that is the greatest thing I have ever used. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about this Cinema Prime that I've got on here, this 14mm. that I got on this guy, because it has really made my workflow a lot better. And because of all of this success that I've been having in the business and going out on my own and doing this, I was able to get it, and I want to pass on those successes to you. So we're going to keep talking about that. And again, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Please let me know if there's anything else I can help you guys with, if there's any other tutorials, if there's stuff we can work on, things that I can do better. Please let me know. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you on the next one.